What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dynasty series. In this video we are going to be taking care of the off season leading up into season number 6. So let's go ahead and jump into the coaching carousel to start things off. So Nick Saban has retired and Chip Lindsey, head coach of Cincinnati, is going to get the job. He led them to a 9-5 season, got them to the college football playoff, won the Big 12. So pretty good hire there, I think, for Alabama. So Lincoln Riley has been fired as the head coach of USC, and they've offered us a contract. I'll be honest, this is really a tempting offer, but at this point, I'm kind of leaning towards staying at Houston. They're kind of growing on me a little bit, and you know, the guys that we've recruited, I'm really invested in. So unless something comes way out of left field, I'm probably going to stay at Houston, but definitely going to be declining this one, but it is tempting. UNC, another one that's a little bit tempting, not quite as much as USC, just because they are in the ACC, which is a little bit of a weak conference now. So going to decline this one as well. Utah, the team that beat us last season, is offering us a deal, but I'm going to decline this one as well. Don't really want to go back to the Big 12. Never in my life would I accept this offer. Now this is tough. If you guys have been watching the channel since the start of the series, I did at one point put out a list of 10 teams that I would leave Houston to join, and Texas was one of them. But like I said earlier, I think I'm leaning more towards staying with Houston for now. I think that list of 10 teams in my head has probably gone down to about 4 or 5, and I just don't think that I want to leave Houston to go to another in-state school in the same conference. With what we've built at Houston, we're kind of ascending to the top of college football, and Texas is, you know, on a downswing right now. So we're going to stay at Houston, I think. So once again, we do have 2 new coordinators. We've got on offense Drew Thatcher. I'm not really sure how to go about finding where these guys came from. If I figure that out, I'll come back and let you know. But on defense, we've got Brian Knorr. Okay, so Drew Thatcher came from Army. He was the offensive coordinator there. And Brian Knorr was the defensive coordinator of Arkansas State. So not super impressed with either of these hires, honestly. So great news here in terms of players leaving. We have nobody transferring out, and we have no juniors declaring for the draft. So TJ Ellis projected to go in the 5th round, but these 4 guys, Ellis, Joel Reeves, Fred Lawrence, and Taylor Caggiano, are all graduating. And TJ Ellis does go as projected in the 5th round. A little disappointing there. I thought he, was an all-star, but he ended up going in the 5th. So in terms of off-season recruiting, we've got 4 targets here that are still really high on our priority list. Chase Evans at guard, a 78 overall, is a guy that we're really wanting to get. That was probably our weakest point last season, was offensive line. So definitely want to get him to try to improve that position. Cornerback is probably our position with the least depth. We don't have a ton of guys at that position, so Tank MacGyver would be a great addition there. Ryan Ferrier, we would love to have him come in as a replacement for TJ Ellis. So hoping to get him as well. And then while we have already signed a fullback, Trent Toney was a guy that I wanted a little bit more than the other guy, Artez Hummingbird. So hopefully we can get him, and we might end up cutting one of the 2 guys if we get both of them, unfortunately. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking moving into recruiting. So let's go ahead and advance and see how many of these guys we end up getting. So good news and bad news from recruiting. We did end up getting the #1 recruiting class in the country, signing Ryan Ferrier and Trent Toney in the offseason. So 2 great additions there, but unfortunately we missed out on Chase Evans by about 8,000 points. And we only missed out on Tank MacGyver by 500, so if I had rearranged these points a little bit, we could have ended up getting this guy, but that's how it goes sometimes. You never know how it's going to end up. So unfortunately we don't get those 2, but we did get these 2. Nothing really to report here in terms of position changes. Moved around a couple of linemen, stuff like that, but Sam Johnson, the athlete, is going to be an 85 overall at cornerback. He actually was higher on a couple of safety positions, but we're absolutely stacked at those positions. So he's probably going to be playing in season number 6. I don't think we'll end up redshirting him, but we'll see how it goes. So we ended up with a really good offseason in terms of player progression. Andrew Waddle at center is the only player that regressed, -2. But we had a couple of guys that went up by a lot. Let me see if I can find him here. Chris Hare-Griffin went up 7 points. Faith Salico at cornerback went up 8 points. So our DB room is going to be stacked now. And we have a ton of guys over 90 overall. So definitely going to be a great season. Great improvement on last season, hopefully. So unfortunately, with only having 4 guys graduate, we've got to cut 16 players. So, you know, I'll kind of show you some of that, but that's going to be kind of time consuming. Not going to be making any changes here in terms of conference alignment, anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the preseason. Alright, so quick look at recruiting here. In terms of team needs, we really only need to find a middle linebacker and a punter. But I really want to try this season to try to find an elite tight end that we can maybe get in here, which I found with this Fang recruiting mod is actually quite difficult to find. A lot of the tight ends end up being pretty bad busts. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and build the recruiting board, and I'll update you guys once I'm done with that. So in terms of the team needs that we were talking about, I think I found our next punter with Max Wingo Reeves. He's number 1 on our list. And then found a couple of middle linebackers who both scouted up. I'm probably going to try to go for both of these guys. Jamal Arnold has us first on his list, and we're second behind Arkansas for Brock Khalifa. So probably going to go for both of those guys to try to get some depth at that position. And in terms of the tight end situation, I had one guy that I'm on the list for now that scouted a -5. But in week 1, when we have a few more points to use for scouting, I'm going to really try to dive into that a little bit more. A couple other guys we're looking at going for. At wide receiver, Raekwon Johnson is a guy that I'm really going to be trying to go for. He has 92 speed, 90 acceleration, just a quick guy with decent receiving skills, along with Landon Sherman, who scouted +8. Very similar, these two guys. 6'1", 199, 6 foot, 180. So some smaller, speedy guys. Definitely want to try to get these two guys. I was trying to go for some like high-profile halfbacks, but they both kind of scouted down. This one was -10. This one was -13. So not great there, but this guy has us first or second on his list, and I haven't been able to scout him yet. So maybe he'll end up panning out. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And then lastly, Marcus Fedler. He's the number 1 quarterback in the country. He has us first on his list, and he scouted up 3 points to an 84. So definitely the type of quarterback that I like to recruit. So definitely excited to try to get this guy on the team as well. So in terms of redshirts, we ended up redshirting every single freshman that we recruited except for Trent Toney at fullback. I'm trying to think if there was any others, and Hayden Meyer at left guard. But other than that, I think we went ahead and redshirted every single freshman, including 85 overall defensive back Sam Johnson. I figure we have plenty of depth at this position after player progression that we can give him a chance to improve a little bit with a red shirt. Nothing really to report here from the depth chart. We're going to be seeing a lot of the same faces as expected. I'm kind of roll through it a little bit and show you guys, but wide receiver is pretty much the same with all 4 of these guys returning. All 5 of them really. And then tight end's the same. I moved Devon Smith over to right tackle, or over to left tackle. He's just a little bit better than Trayon Owens, so that's going to be a little bit of an improvement there. The O-line's looking a lot improved over last season. Same guys on the defensive line across the board. Same linebackers other than Taven Lebowitz stepping in for TJ Ellis. 90 overall, he should be a nice piece there as well, backed up by Deshaun Davis. And then defensive back looks the same as last season. Still have Kendall Byer and Devondrick Lewis at safety, and Adam Wells at kicker. We did end up subbing Davian Kaba out last season at kick return after he muffed like 4 or 5 different punts. But we're going to throw him back in and see if he's improved on that during the offseason. And that's pretty much it for the depth chart. So here is the schedule moving into season number 6. Really tough one, actually. We've got, in terms of out-of-conference matchups, we're hosting number 13 Florida State. We're playing at home against number 21 USC. And then we've got a road game at Notre Dame. So definitely 3 tough games there out of conference. In terms of our conference schedule, we're on the road for the first few at South Carolina, number 2 Alabama, Mississippi State, Arkansas. Then we have home game against Ole Miss. Then we're back on the road against LSU. And then we close out with the same 3 as last season, but they're all going to be at home this year: Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Texas. So that's going to be it for the schedule. And that's also going to do it for this video. I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me this whole time. We're going to be kicking off season number 6 tomorrow on the road against South Carolina. Be sure to tune in for that one. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you don't mind. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for this matchup.